Hey everybody, Stereo Azimuth, and I've got a new product, a new headphone product that I'm really excited about that I got to try out. Is the iFi iDSD Diablo. I think that means like devil chicken or something. Anyway, and let me tell you, this is one heck of a device. Let me just tell you right away that it is an unbelievable device that I was quite surprised how really great it sounds. So if you're considering this device or like watching this review because you don't know whether you're on the fence or maybe you want to find out some more information about it or whatever, I can just tell you, I would get it. I would own it in a heartbeat, and it is a wonderful product and is very much worth the price given all of the everything that you get out of it. And so let's just go over that. But yes, the sound quality is amazing. So let's just go through some of the features right quick, just so we can kind of get that out of the way and pardon my wires. But yeah, on the front, you have your headphone, 1/4-inch output. You have your Pentagon balanced output. You have 3 different modes: turbo, and sorry, my camera again, turbo, normal, and eco. And, eco being the lowest gain setting, turbo being the highest gain setting. And then you have your volume and power controls. So when you turn past the click, it will turn on, indicating that it is on. In the back, you just have these 4 connections right here. Number 1 is your USB input, which is this weird USB-A input, which iFi does supply said cable for that. I guess you can use some sort of extension cable, but this thing is pretty substantial. This cable is quite large. It is not very long. It's only about 3 feet long, and but yeah, I don't know. iFi, all the iFi iDSD devices come with this, and I don't know what it's doing or how great it is, but I can tell you it's thicker than most USB cables. It's not quite as flexible, but I would probably, it feels like a very substantial cable. I would probably use it, even though that it's not as flexible because it is so big. Then you have, just going back, USB power, so it's USB-C power. The box does supply an iFi USB-C adapter, but any USB-C power will do to recharge the battery that's inside. It has a Pentagon balanced output, so I do believe that they do also supply a Pentagon to 2 XLR breakout cable. And then it also has a SPDIF input here, which I couldn't really get working with my same sort of connector on my Theo devices. So I don't know exactly how this works. I didn't really look at the manual. I mainly just use the USB input here. But yeah, if you want to use this as just as a DAC, you can use the balanced output. This is just supplies power, and this is your USB signal. Worked great with Windows, and it just saw it right away and worked right away, and so it was awesome. It's got 4 little rubber feet on the bottom so you can see it, but inside the device, and you can go to the website, the link is in the description, and they show pictures inside of the device, and I'm not going to go through it all, because they do a much better job of explaining all of the different high-end, high-grade parts that go inside of the thing. That they spent time. This thing is basically they pulled out all the stops for all of the high-end, high-class, for audio components that are inside of it. So, and it's not just like they threw a bunch of high dollar capacitors and high dollar resistors. I mean, they, thought about where those would most pay off and would have the most impact to the sound, to the actual quality, the sound quality of the device. It does have Burr Brown PCM two Burr Brown PCM decoders. It is MQA compatible. And they also have two, or actually more than that. I don't know exactly how many, but they use some of their proprietary op amps. So they're actually, like, I think partnering with Texas Instruments or something like that to make their own proprietary, like their own stuff with their own specifications, like operational amplifiers. And I believe it. I let me just tell you, when I first plugged it in, the sound quality just like blew me away, because I put in my Sennheiser HD like 650s and immediately like greeted you with this very wide, very deep soundstage. The sound signature, you could tell like already it is a little bit warmer, like kind of warmer tilted, almost sort of darker sounding. But basically when I switched headphones to like other headphones and IEMs, I found that like basically the low end is just like very like present, and it doesn't really go away. Like it's there, it's kind of detailed, it's kind of punchy, but it's still rather detailed. It reminded me, some might say that it's a little like tube-like and almost kind of like tubby on the low end, but still it gives you a very good sense of depth and, like I said, layering and soundstage, and still very sort of dynamic sound. The top end was very sort of soft and sort of neutral, but it didn't really give me a lot of fatigue. Very, very fatigue-free, like DAC. Very powerful DAC. Very powerful. When I listen on IEMs, a lot of people use balanced IEMs and they use, Pentacon, like balanced. You do not need this for this. Even on eco mode, using the unbalanced outputs on my, Moondrop Starfields, and also my timeless, my 7 hertz timeless. I mean, it was plenty of power. I mean, it barely got over like where the volume knob is. Let me just show you right quick. I'm going to go back to the camera here because this is kind of important, especially for you IEM users, is that when you have the volume control, when you turn it on, right about here at 9 o'clock is when the volume first starts to begin. So normally, like when we think about a volume control, the volume control is way down, like starts at 6 o'clock. Where's my finger? It starts at 6 o'clock, right? So it starts like, and actually the way that the camera is. So, and then you move up the dial to, like 9 and 10 and 11. And then like usually this is like, killer because you're like halfway up, or this is like near halfway, right? Well, let me just tell you that this right here, the here to here is huge. There's a lot of volume in this thing, even in eco mode, even in eco. The only time that I didn't even hardly use like turbo mode. Okay. And once again, I'm sorry for the jumping around in the camera. I'm going to get a new camera so it doesn't do this. But basically, I never even used the turbo mode because the turbo mode was just so loud and had so much gain. I really didn't even need it. You might need it if you wanted to listen to, if you had some really hard to drive planar magnetic headphones, like LCDX or something like that, and you're trying to listen to some classical music really loud. That would be the only thing I would think of. You're trying to listen to it louder. Use this turbo control. But I mean, even my hard to drive PMX2 headphones, like these, these headphones, my Oppo PMX2s, these are modified, so they're even like less sensitive than their original versions. And those things, need a hefty, sort of amp to sort of drive them. I put them as hard to drive as maybe HE 500s for those of you familiar. And it was fine in normal mode. Eco mode, maybe had to turn the volume up too much, but it was fine in normal mode. My Sennheiser headphones, my HD 600, HD 650, were fine in normal mode. If I wanted to just chill and put on my Sennheiser, 650s and just sort of work at my desk, and I'm listening to pop and rock music, then eco mode was fine. I mean, really was plenty okay. But yes, the soundstage, the layering, the overall power of it, the overall sense of it was just absolutely unbelievable. I am a Burr Brown PCM fan. I have my favorite DAP is this X5 2, and it has a Burr Brown DAC chip in it. I have my Theta DAC has two PCM 67s, and I just think that they have really great sound. They have a very defined sort of low end. Some might call the iFi DSD Diablo a little sort of U-shaped or V-shaped, and even with some very flat headphones HD 650s. And so they kind of did have this hole where the mids were. They weren't very punchy. They're more sort of open and delicate in the mids and in the highs than they are in the lows. So where the lows are very strong, the highs and the mids are more delicate. So it is kind of a weird sort of sense when you first hear it, but then things flow more natural. But a lot of people who want vocals to be right sort of there and be especially male vocals and stuff may not quite like it quite as much. I don't know. That was my only real concern. The other real concern is because it's so powerful, this volume knob, I have to be very careful. It's very easy to move. You just brush by it, touch it, and the volume goes up. It almost needs another gain mode where it can go, even lower gain, really, because it is such a powerhouse of a device, which I was just blown away how much power that it had. Because I've tried the iFi, the regular iDSD, the black version previous to this, and it was a little more bright. Didn't have a lot as much low end definition. It was kind of fatiguing, kind of glary on the top end. And had a really good, it's got the iFi IEM match, which worked really great for IEMs, but as a desktop amp, it worked fairly okay. I would give that device probably a B. I would give this device an A, and the only reason why it is almost if you watch Critical, almost S tier, but. It really, it's still a portable device. It's still op amps and all that kind of stuff. And it is $1,000 device. It is, getting up there because really, you have to think, who is this device for? I mean, this is a DAC amp, but look how big it is. I mean, it's as big as like a canteen almost, or like a flask. I mean, I can't really put this in my, like, you know, like this. It's kind of big and kind of heavy. But it's perfect for, you know, if you have a desktop rig and you just want something there, but also you have a laptop, all that sort of thing. The other thing is that you can use like one of these, okay, like the Apple OTG cable. One cool thing that I found out too is you can just go right into there like that. So yes, it will work if you want to. It's kind of, you know, one of those things. It doesn't really give you a lot of like cable room, but yeah, you can also, yes, of course, if you wanted to, you know, use the USB like this, and then, you know, plug this in this way. So you can do that if you want. And basically, when you use it this way with a like an Apple dongle or like a USB-C like dongle, is that there's no penalty on your portable device. So if you use it with a tablet, if you use it with your phone, you are using to run the DAC amp, you know, to run this, you are using the internal battery. And the internal battery lasted a long time. I mean, I could listen like all day long and not have to charge it. So yeah, and even if you want to charge it and listen to it at the same time, there's really, to me, no audio penalty whatsoever. So yeah, I think it's a great device. If I was like traveling around, if I was like a traveling salesman and I wanted to have like high quality, like desktop performance in a portable module, I would get this thing. If I worked in an office where I'm going into my office, but I'm also working from home, like a lot of us are doing today, where we're kind of hybrid and you need like one device, this thing is great because it has a great DAC, it has a great amp, it is transportable. So, but I understand it is not for everybody. And I want to thank iFi for lending me this device. I'm not keeping it. I did not buy it. I did not get one for free. I only got one to review, and then it is going on to the next person. And I also want to thank iFi for spending so much time and effort going into the sound quality of the device instead of giving us a whole lot of features. And I wish a lot more companies and things would focus on that aspect of it instead of giving us a lot of options and switches and things like that. So I do that much. I can really appreciate, because we buy these devices and get these devices because we want some of the best in audio, and we want to enjoy our music unbelievably. I found myself, cranking up the volume like more and more, and that's always a good indication of a good device. Is if it, if I want to crank up the volume, then it must sound good. So hopefully you guys will like it too. Just watch the volume if you do get one. So, but like I said, I will leave the link to the device like in the description to go directly to iFi's site. So, but thank you very much. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.